So what I've done here is I've just built a very simple structure, sort of a lean-to type. Just a bunch of poles, standing dead that I found, secured basically up at the top, making a, sort of teepee. And just got my chair tucked in there. So that'll get me out of the elements for sure, and nice and close to the fire. It's very warm inside this little shelter. It's amazing what a difference it makes. As we come inside the shelter and look back out to the fire, it's easily 10, maybe 15 degrees warmer inside this shelter. And if I choose to, of course, I can bring the flaps out. I'm pretty much securing myself in. There'd be a small gap, of course, but that would keep me completely out of the weather. This wouldn't be for sleeping, because it's only a few square feet, but it's certainly big enough to keep me warm and dry. And if I sit in here much longer, I'm going to have to take my jacket off, because it is warm. Toasty, toasty warm inside here. And again, looking back in, you can see it's only maybe 5 feet high, and it's just using I think I've got a 10 by 8 tarp there, if I'm not mistaken. It's not a very big tarp, but again, a few sticks, a few pieces of string, you've got yourself up a shelter that'll keep you warm and dry, even in when the weather starts to drop. Just got to keep your fire going. Okay, so I'm all tucked inside the little shelter. It's not raining out yet, but it sure feels like it could, though. There's a little patch of blue sky up there. Haven't seen blue sky in a while. I think coming on lunchtime, don't really feel like cooking up too much, so I'm just going to hit the stores that I've got in my pack, and I'm just going to heat up a can of soup. And I'm going to use my little MSR clone, the little multi-fuel burner. Just got it hooked up to a can of the gas, and that'll work real well. Using my little Zebra 14 centimeter lunch kit, or lunch box they call it. Nice little rig, but it's unbelievable how warm it is inside this shelter. It certainly is well over 90 degrees. I'm going to go north of 100 now that I've moved it up a little bit closer. Doesn't take long. Stoke the fire up, put a few pieces of wood on, and the temperature just skyrockets inside the little shelter. I could probably put a bunch of rocks all around the fire a lot closer, get those rocks heated up, and then I could bring them inside, and that would create a tremendous amount of warmth that would last beyond the direct radiated heat from the fire. In any case, I've got a fire going, and I'm going to have some lunch, and I'm sitting by the creek in my shelter. I don't know what everybody else is doing on a Friday afternoon. I imagine there's people fighting traffic and worrying about all kinds of stuff. Me, I'm just going to heat up some soup. Okay, I decided to try a little proof of concept test here. I've shifted the position of this metal grate. It's a big, heavy grate we've had up here for years. I put it a little more over top of the fire and put a couple of big rocks on it. My plan is I'm going to let those rocks heat for a while, and then I think what I'll do is I'll bring the grate in and I'll move my little table. And I think if I bridge the grate from this rock across right in front of me here to this big rock, I can shift my chair a little bit, and that will actually bring that hot piece of metal and all its mass, and these should be very hot rocks by the time they get warmed up, and we'll see what that does inside here. I have rigged up this flap. Don't know if this will show up on the camera. I might be too close. I can pull this flap across and secure it, which will, that's the very peak. It'll give me about maybe a 2.5 foot high opening across the front, but the top will be, and that should trap a lot of the heat in here. Anyway, we'll see how it works. I may run out of patience before the rocks get hot enough, but I think it'll give me a good idea as to whether it'll work or not. So basically, once I've closed the flap over, you can see how much more enclosed it becomes. Be interesting to see how the hot rocks in the metal grate do just inside. Well, that's it for lunch. This little zebra pot, very nice. I'm very impressed. This is the first time I've used this particular pot. You can see I heated up a can of soup directly over the gas, so there's a pretty intense heat, and nothing on the bottom, just a little bit of coloration from the gas that's to be expected, sort of slight bronzing to it, but nothing burned on the inside. Easy peasy to clean up. I'm very happy. Multi-fuel burner, little can of fuel. I'm not backpacking. It all goes in my portable kitchen box over there. Grab and go, everything you need. Hot rocks. I am beginning to lose the light, so I'm going to have to go a little quicker than I thought I would. These rocks you can't touch anymore. If you try to touch them, even on the top side, they're too hot to touch. So they're all pretty warm. This last one on the right I put on not as long ago. It's not quite as hot, but it's they're throwing out the heat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the camera down, and I'm going to move the rack from this span here. I'm going to try to move it across from down around here across to here, and then I'm going to kind of pull the flap up and see what happens. And I've got a little bit of water going there. I might pour a little on the rocks just to see what more of that does. Who knows? Maybe I'll improve this if it's worthwhile and have a wicked sauna. Okay, managed to move it over without any disasters. Looks like it'll be pretty much inside the tent. It was very warm in the 10 seconds that I was in there adjusting it from the inside, so we'll see what it's like inside. Righty, we're inside. I've raked the fire back. For perspective, those embers are about 3.5 feet away, and there's still quite a bit of heat coming, but the heat coming off these rocks is incredible. So I'm going to close the flap up here and see what this is like. I don't know how this will turn out, but I've got the flap kind of buttoned up, and the stones are mostly inside. Maybe if I use a stick I can poke this to the outside a bit. Okay, used a little stick. It's helping it out, and it is incredibly warm in here. So I think what we're going to try to do, this is not going to be easy one-handed, but I'm going to give it a try. Well, let's just see what happens. Maybe just a little splash of water on these rocks. Okay. There we go. Woo! Let's hope that doesn't ruin my little camera. Anyway, that works. It is now a sauna, and it is fantastic in here. Well, that's it for today. Make your own sauna.